Sliders started off pretty strong, which is really good as sometimes it takes a show a season to really figure out what it is. And in the end, Sliders didn't end up having a lot of time before meddling tried to tell it that it was things that it shouldn't have been and derailed the whole series. I'm sure if Sliders had not had these issues, it would have been able to really improve past its early seasons, but of course the opposite ended up happening. The Sliders pilot is a TV movie and one of their best episodes. It really has a lot to do with giving us decent development of the four main characters, plus explaining and exploring the main premise of the series, sliding to alternate dimensions, which it all does very well. Instead of the typical show intro, the pilot has the title and credits appear during the opening scene. And the first voice we actually end up hearing in the series is Harry Shearer on the radio.
Good morning, Northern California, day tripper with you. What are you people doing still in bed?
So while the first two seasons of Sliders were primarily shot in Vancouver, there were a few bits actually filmed in San Francisco to try and help sell it all as taking place there. So you get a nice shot of Rembrandt getting into his car with that triangle building behind him that was seen far too often in the Charmed stock shots.
Linda Henning here used to be in Petticoat Junction.
Up all night, working. You're too much like your father. And look what happened to him.
Cat loves food. Yeah.
Mom, Dad was hit by a car.
But he was on his way to work.
I do love this interaction here, as it shows how Quinn and his mother often have humorous banter with each other, but also subtly sets up a major plot point for the end of the movie/episode.
And when are you gonna make up my room?
You just watch it, Buster. 2 more semesters and I'm turning this place into a bed and breakfast.
I get the feeling this was meant as a hint for a parallel world that never ended up happening. Imagine Quinn's horror as he goes home to find stinky Cro-Mags renting rooms at his mom's pad. So Quinn might be a genius, but his short-term memory apparently isn't the greatest, as he seemingly sits up with surprise at his own home movies of opening the gate with his proto-timer. Did I get wasted and open up a bunch of portals again? Glad Quinn wasn't stuck with that timer. That one wouldn't have conveniently fit in his pocket like the remote control style one.
You know, Michael, I worry about that kid sometimes. He's too smart for his own good.
Well, he's not that smart. I mean, he didn't even finish his equation, and interdimensional portals are quite a ways off from the anti-gravity device that Quinn was actually attempting to create.
I worry about that kid sometimes.
What's that, Mom? Dad's still dead? Hope that never changes. We then see Quinn dash from Golden Gate Park over to UC Berkeley's campus, which is not all that close to the park. So maybe Quinn also invented a lazy day short-range teleporter that he also forgot about creating.
Communism will sweep the world!
Well, not this world, but maybe another one.
Now, this classroom's kind of empty because it's an advanced class, not because we were too cheap to fill it with extras.
Well, it's also because we were cheap.
Well, it is a rationalization, but nonetheless.
Quinn's class is another prime location to set up a few characters we'll see alternates of on other worlds, though the main one we'll see is Conrad Benish Jr. here. But unfortunately only in Season 1. Well, maybe one spot in Season 2, but it's undetermined if that was supposed to be Benish or if it was his actor just playing a rando. The only other classmate we'd see again is Mr. Wing, but again, unfortunately only one other time. I know this got completely screwed up by Season 3 moving the production to LA, but they could have popped up a bit more before that point.
Mr. Mallory, you might at least do me the courtesy to pretend that you're listening to me.
You disappoint me. Not very wise.
If you ask me, Professor Arturo is not nearly as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah, I suppose if Arturo was smart, he'd skip out on the torture that this series is going to turn into for every character. We get our introduction to Wade at the Doppler Computer Superstore, where she and Quinn both work. But only in the pilot. However, I suppose it would be rather hard to hold down a job when sliding from dimension to dimension. Again though, I think their workplace could have been utilized again down the line. Especially where the slider group constantly needs money. Maybe Quinn or Wade should see if they're still employed there in some worlds and see if they're owed a paycheck.
Watch it, Mr. Computer Boy's on the warpath.
Now here's an ugly little side note. This character of Hurley is actually named after someone I worked with at Star Trek.
Wacky doodle, wacky doodle, wacky doodle.
who is a very unpopular person, and so I named him after him.
Boy, oh boy, that Maurice Hurley sure was popular with everyone, wasn't he?
I don't really care what people think.
Maury and I had a very bad relationship from that point on.
Wacky doodle.
I love that he inspires people to name putzes after him.
If it weren't for my mistakes, you'd be out of a job.
Wacky doodle. That guy Hurley's a putz on every world I've been to.
Not so wacky doodle after all.
Hurley here is played by someone you might have seen in another Portal-based sci-fi show, as Gary Jones was also Sergeant Walter Harriman on Stargate SG-1. Around this point, I guess there was a cut scene where Quinn ran into his neighbor who he had a crush on, who was also going to be someone you'd see in some of the other worlds, and he was even going to be married to her on one world. I think they should have tried to keep as many bits like this as possible to really help establish the alternate worlds, especially where you mainly just have this pilot to set up what the characters are like on Earth Prime, as they would call it. This is something they do establish here, though, the creaking gate.
This gate has been squeaking since I was 12.
This is something Quinn would use once in a while to try and see if he was possibly home, which ended up being to his detriment. Quinn's lab is also something that could have been seen a little more often after the pilot, especially when we see that Quinn is one of those Spencer Gifts plasma balls. If TV has taught me anything, anyone who does real science has one of those plasma balls.
You'd think after 3 months I'd be able to crack it.
We see that Quinn has already created the timer Mark II and how it was originally supposed to work. After the time was up, the object sent through the gateway would automatically be returned to its home dimension. We'll see it work this way with Quinn once in the pilot, and then never again because they messed the timer up.
I've been thinking about sending Schrodinger through.
Get it? Schrodinger's cat? Get it? Who would ever believe a cat slider, though? Now get me some fluffy dogs and I'm totally on board with the concept.
But if anything were to happen, I knew I couldn't live with that.
At least Quinn is a responsible pet owner, though he should probably pop by to feed some of the other Schrodingers on worlds where Quinn is also taken off.
Cat loves food, yeah.
Tomorrow morning, I myself will step through the gate.
Wait, what? When did I decide that?
Mom, in the event something goes wrong and I don't return, this is a message for you. Wherever I am, I'm probably having a blast.
I'm Quinn Mallory.
Okay, I've had enough of this.
Who knows? I might make it back one day.
You know, as long as this series gets concluded properly.
See you soon, Schrodinger! Oh no.
I'm Quinn Mallory.
I don't believe this.
Who the hell are these people?
And some other characters that I'm not that familiar with.
I'm right back where I started.
I also happen to land in one of the few worlds where it's not immediately obvious that it's not Earth Prime.
This scientific theory, so-called, about global cooling, but I don't know, maybe it's true.
It truly is a different world. You didn't immediately deny global cooling.
What are you, blind? It's a green light for crying out loud!
I like these more subtle alternate world things done like this, and of course it's being done here to ease into the world of sliding, but it was also nice that there be things that are just slightly off from the norm of our world. So Quinn quickly finds out that red means go and green means stop.
Red is go, green is stop. Red is go, green is stop.
Last CD rolls off the assembly line. If the vinyl LP won the battle, and vinyl, ladies and gentlemen, is here to stay.
Oh, well, maybe this is actually our world.
Jack Kennedy does not want to run for another term. If you start the day in bed with Marilyn, that's where you want to spend the day.
Where am I?
Apparently, you're on the world where nobody ever died. Also, apparently in this world, you don't need a registration sticker on your license plate. Though, we'll see that Rembrandt doesn't believe in those either, until his car finds the stickers on its own after sliding. Oh no, non-squeak gate, which leads to Quinn's mom in a wig and she's having a baby with their gardener? Well, time to get the hell out of here. Guess it's a good thing that Quinn was taking his timer to school with him, otherwise he'd have lost it. After the excitement of being back home, Quinn starts to realize that things are off again as he's apparently been getting into fights with Arturo and Hurley.
Wacky doodle.
Not so wacky doodle after all.
Wacky doodle.
Who, Hurley?
The man just fired you.
If you will not leave, I will.
Now, I think Arturo's a pompous windbag too, but I'd never have the guts to say it to his face. I swear to God, that was not me.
It's kind of funny that it never crosses Quinn's mind that he might not have actually returned to his proper home world, but I guess they didn't want to plant that seed yet, as he is meant to be back on Earth Prime at this point. And it just so happens that Quinn from Smug World has been visiting and just assuming that Prime Quinn would love him messing around with his life.
And I suppose now you're gonna tell me that that kiss meant nothing.
Who did this? I did. Or should I say, you did.
I'd go over there and smack you, but we're pushing our slightly janky 1995 screening as it is.
Because I'm a slider. And this happens to be my 8th slide.
I have 8 Quinns who want to kick my ass.
When you step inside, you slide through to another universe.
Well, I'm glad Smug Universe Quinn is also at least plot exposition Quinn.
Can you choose your destination? Afraid not. Or at least not yet.
I kinda wonder though, since Prime Quinn didn't finish the equation on his own, what if stupid Smug Quinn screwed up again? And had Prime Quinn actually done it, he might have actually cracked being able to slide with more purpose. Or maybe not, because Prime Quinn can be a genius dumbass sometimes too.
Oh, I gotta go. Wife's waiting. Been married now 2 years.
To Wade? Is that why he kissed her? Trying to move that along for Prime Quinn? Or maybe Smug Quinn's just a cheaty jerk-ass?
I'll see you idiots later. I once stepped onto an Earth just this side of paradise, where there's no pollution, no crime or hate.
And Sliders had a proper run. It wasn't wrecked by Fox, Sci-Fi, Cro-Mags, or Peckinpahs.
Think about that.
I gotta warn you, this is important.
That's why I waited for the last second to not be able to tell you properly. Do we know each other yet, Miss Wells? This is awkward.
My son thinks the world of you, Professor.
He does?
Oh.
Somebody hand me a handkerchief, please.
Don't need to be hearing any of that old stuff the night of my big comeback.
So the crying man, Rembrandt Brown, initially doesn't have any connection to Quinn and friends. He's gonna get sucked into their plot, literally. Remy is trying to make a comeback with his singing career and is on the way to sing the national anthem at a San Francisco Giants baseball game.
90s, baby. Crying man is back.
Who cares about Big Smith, the anthem, man? People want to know who's singing the anthem.
Wow, the Batcave.
Guess Quinn and Wade aren't that great of friends if he's never even invited her over once before.
The holy grail of theoretical physics. This elegance is found here in the basement of this unknown, unkempt, unpublished, unfortunately brilliant brat. To imagine that we have the technology to build a portal into an alternative universe.
Is that possible? An alternative universe? Really?
I'll see you idiots later.
We can just like slide through this and boom, we're on another planet?
Same planet, different dimension.
That is so cool.
He slimed me.
That's great!
I do love Wade's super enthusiasm about sliding immediately, though she might not be quite as up for it if she knew how things were going to turn out. Arturo is all, we have to study this before doing something rash, until Quinn's like, yeah, I'm going now anyway. So he decides, the hell with it, let's see what happens.
Do you think we'll all fit?
Maybe I should increase the power.
Quinn fiddling with the power, I guess, is the excuse for the portal popping out of the house and then sneaking around the corner to grab Rembrandt, which is behavior we'll never see again. The group ends up on World 6 from Mario 3 this time, which would have been a little more immediately obvious to Quinn than Elvis World had this been his first slide.
I think I've just seen God, and I could have sworn he was driving a Cadillac.
It was like better than sex.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
This world's pretty much a big dud and really kind of blows for being everyone's intro into sliding except for Quinn's. Hey, imagine a world where it's all iced and everyone is gone. Amazing! But despite it being so cold around here, we don't see anyone's breath. Weird. However, we will see their breath on the next supposedly not as cold world. Now, despite there not being a lot going on in this world, they do sneak in some interesting differences about Quinn's family through a photo. He sees a dog that in his world they only had for a short time because he ran away as a puppy, and an apparent sister.
The sister I never had.
This really should have been another hint about a future world they would visit where Quinn would actually get to meet this sister. If only Sliders had ended up with more good episodes than it did. Now, if only Quinn had continued to never have a brother. The rest of the gang run into Rembrandt rather easily since, he's kind of the only other living person around here. And he kind of looks a bit more realistic than some of the other rather janky frozen San Francisco compositing. This was rather lucky for Rembrandt too, considering had this been a more normal world, he might have just continued on his way to the game and been stuck wherever that was. But then again, maybe that would have worked out better for him. They catch Remy up on the whole sliding business they've wrapped him up into, which goes over well naturally.
You wanna roll that by me again, man, in English this time?
An ice tornado makes its way over to see if it can get in on the sliding, but the group is less than keen on bringing it along.
Anywhere is better than here! Let's go!
So Quinn forces a slide before the preset time was up, which is what last minute Smug Boy was trying to warn him not to do. Cause if you don't let the timer do its little auto return portal, it just completely loses where you were and you're on random select after that. Quinn then naturally shoots the portal up into the air, cause that's the hardest way to possibly get into the vortex, so everyone ends up needing a boost. Except for Quinn, he just makes it somehow. Maybe the tornado started lifting him and he made a little Mario jump into the portal after that?
Well, what if he didn't make it?
What's with the tears? You hit your head or something?
Yeah.
I do not understand your human emotions.
Oh!
So everyone just assumes that this must be home because it doesn't have an immediate tell in the empty park. But don't worry, the team will get a bit smarter about judging these things in the future, and then a lot dumber about it in the even later future.
My beautiful red sled is on another planet where it's stuck in a freaking iceberg. They're never gonna buy that when I put in my claim.
Has that always been here? Who, Abe?
No, Lenin. Nikolai Ilyich Ulyanov Lenin.
Whoops, must have made a wrong coin at Soviet Albuquerque. So yeah, the rest of the pilot primarily focuses on the Soviet America world, where the Cold War ended up going poorly and now America is under Russian rule.
And the network executive said, no one's interested in communism.
Thing of the distant past.
Yeah, like that was 2 seasons ago.
Exactly.
What if you could travel to parallel worlds? A world where the Russians rule America, or where the Russians rule America, or where the Russians rule America. Now the problem is the Russians rule America.
PT&T, we want you back.
The "We Want You Back" slogan was a reference to AT&T's commercials from the time.
They've come back to AT&T. We want you back.
It's funny how the phone company commercials were just as annoying back in 1995 as they are today. Now it's that horrible Carrot Top stuff, which I guess is even worse.
Thanks to our Comrades Call Comrades program, we can save you up to 6 rubles a year on long distance to the motherland.
PT&T? What is this?
This is operator 934. You will state your telephone permit number now.
Wade quickly learns that the world of the People's Telephone and Telegraph is a bit dystopian, as without a telephone permit, they really want you back and will send people after you. But hey, at least the bum from their world is now a senator.
Hey, Bill.
So, hoping to still make it to the game, Remy catches a cab, which will naturally also land him in a heap of trouble.
Could you turn on the Giants game? You know, baseball-ski?
Baseball, Reds, Reds game?
Yeah.
The joke, of course, being Rembrandt thinks he's referring to the Cincinnati Reds, but in this reality it'd be a team named after the communist red flag.
Anthem. Wait a minute, that don't sound right. Must be playing a Canadian team.
I like the joke that Rembrandt has no idea what "O Canada" sounds like, but I guess he's really messed up if he thinks Cincinnati's in Canada. When Rembrandt gives the cabbie some money for a toll is where everything falls apart, since the cash from Earth Prime doesn't quite align with Soviet America's currency. Now that we have our guns on them, What do we do? We wait for commercials, stupid! Rembrandt ends up getting interrogated by someone who is one of those lawyers that had a commercial play every break on Fox in the Prime world. The one of these I always remembered seeing was on the Fox Rochester affiliate for Jim the Hammer Shapiro.
I'm Jim the Hammer Shapiro!
And this was based on my hatred of all those stupid lawyer commercials.
I'm Ross J. Kelly, and I won't take no for an answer. I'll fight for you.
If you cooperate, I'll fight for you.
Ross J. Kelly? The shyster lawyer from TV?
He knows you, your name, your civilian profession. How?
I don't know.
I hand over jurisdiction of your situation
to the People's Court.
So, for a comedy bit and of course a play on peoples, Rembrandt ends up on the show The People's Court. Seeing some people gunned down in the street makes the professor very hungry. No joke. Kinda strange.
Anyone fancy a kibasa?
You think maybe he's got something planned here, but no. They just luck into the fact that the vendor is a member of the resistance movement and brings them in after being handed some non-Soviet currency.
This is actually a series of tunnels that really are in Vancouver that run from the ocean to the middle of town. They were built during the Second World War.
It turns out Wade's double is a leader of the resistance movement in this world, so she initially gets mistaken for her.
Welcome to the revolution.
Though the welcome for everyone sans Wade isn't really the nicest.
Get any rest, gentlemen?
Oh, yes. I always sleep well with my arms tied above my head, you blithering idiot.
It's not every day someone comes to us claiming to be from a parallel Earth.
Mr. Wilkins here is another character who unfortunately we never see a double of on Another World. Considering his importance in the pilot and relationship with Wade, I feel like something interesting could have been done with another version of him. It turns out though that the actual resistance leader Wade was captured and is being held in a prison being run by Arturo's double. Pretty big coincidence that two of their doubles are really important in this world, huh?
Wild, huh?
This eventually leads to them making the plan of Arturo cosplaying as his double on this world to rescue Resistance Wade and Rembrandt.
It began in the 50s when we lost the Korean War. We were economically isolated from the rest of the world.
Well, hopefully no one would ever try to do something like that to the US and our world.
At ease, Private.
That guy Hurley's a putz on every world I've been to.
Guess Smug Quinn never made it to this world, as Hurley doesn't really do anything that objectionable besides watch communist rap music videos.
Comrade, get on down. Serve your state to feed your people.
This is a joke, right?
No. This is prime time.
It's Pledge Week, comrades, on PBS.
Looks like PBS is run by Atari in this world.
Pledge your support for public television, or else.
What possible defense do you have to this?
This earth is not my earth, you dig?
We did actually shoot Clavant singing the national anthem at a Giants game too, and that's another thing that was never used.
I find it very interesting that they filmed any of Rembrandt performing the anthem, because I don't know what that would have been for. Unless there is some kind of alternate closed ending version shot where the Sliders did make it back home.
Now this guy Q-Ball.
Q-Ball, I sentence you to 15 years in the Alaskan Gulag.
I am never watching this show again.
We're going to have to move quickly.
If we fail tonight, the entire West Coast uprising will be extinguished.
Then we won't fail.
Oh, good plan! I thought maybe we would try failing until you said not to! Arturo puts on a rather shaky performance as his warden double, which is good enough at least to get them through the gate.
Left hand, sir.
Left hand.
Tell me your name, I'll see you'll come in.
But you know my name, sir. Lieutenant Karpov.
Since you're pretending not to know me, I'm pretending not to know you.
Karpov here ends up calling Warden Arturo's house and finds out that he's still in bed, which seems slightly odd when he just drove into the prison.
What the hell is this, dog food?
They save Rembrandt just in time before he had to eat dog food.
I never thought I'd be happy to see you guys.
And I never realized how much I would miss you guys once I get stuck with the other dummies.
Down and blockade!
Quinn loses track of Wade, but after finding her, she ends up getting wounded during the escape. So, yeah, of course, it's just the resistance leader Wade they've lost, not the important one.
I'm gonna get you home.
It would have been nice to at least get a little bit of Wade's double on this world doing something before getting taken out like this.
This raid has given us a tremendous shot in the arm.
Thanks to what you've told us of your world, we know they can be defeated. You've given us hope back.
Of course, I've lost my girlfriend and leader, but we need to spin this into a positive, I guess.
You're in violation of curfew. Show me your papers.
I don't have time for this.
My droid!
Huh, you know, I don't know what we thought we were gonna do after the whole portal thing had opened.
Thank God!
Hey, have this Soviet America currency. I'm sure that'll work in this world.
Don't you know me?
I do know you.
Yeah, I'm getting out.
You is crying, man, no?
Well, that settles it. We home.
But first, the ultimate world test. The stupid gate creaking. Considering that this test immediately fails them, it'd be pretty stupid if they relied on it in the future.
Where have you been?
It's a long story.
TV movie length even. So yay! Everyone celebrate! We are 100% home!
I'd like to propose a toast to wherever you live.
Hey.
Hello, Dad.
What's the matter, son? You look like you've seen a ghost. Close enough.
I could never stay in a world where my dad's alive. Yikes, do I really suck that much, son? Yeah. The Sliders pilot really did a good job showing off the whole alternate history premise the show was initially built upon and gave us 4 enjoyable characters to explore these worlds with. It also did a good job of taking its story seriously while also balancing it with some comedic bits so the tone wasn't overly dire. Something the show would not do as well with come its later seasons. The biggest slide hole of the episode is gonna go to Professor Arturo for his rather poorly timed thinking with his stomach. He didn't know that would lead them to the resistance, he just wanted food. Next time on Sliders, it's the Summer of Love with Hippie World.
I'm Ross Jake.
The Hammer!
Kelly, and I won't take no for an answer. I'll fight for you.